You might think that I'm losing my vision ability, but that's not true. I just found my glasses I haven't used for 2 years and just put them on. I can see a little bit better with them. And let's continue our reading journey today with the glasses. Okay, today's story is The Brief Debut of Tildy. I think I read this story already, no? Okay, let's see. If you don't know, Bogle's Chop House and Family Restaurant, it's your loss. For if you are one of the fortunate ones who dine expensively, you should be interested to know how the other half consumes provisions. And if you belong to the half of whom waiters checks are things of moment, you should know Bogle's, for there you get your money's worth, in quantity at least. Bogle's is situated in the highway of Borgiosi, that boulevard of Brown, Jones, and Robinson, 8th Avenue. There are two rows of tables in the room, six in each row. On each table, on each table is a caster stand containing cruets and condemned condiments, cruets of condiments and seasons. From the pepper crute, you may shake a cloud of something tasteless and melancholy, like volcanic dust. From the salt crute, you may expect nothing, though a man should extract a singularity stream for the pallid turnip, for the pallid turnip. Yet will his prowess be balked when he comes to rest. Salt from Bogle's cruise. Also upon each table stands the counterfeit of the begging sauce, Benjin, Benijin, Benijin, Benijin sauce, made from the receipt of a nobleman in India. At the cashier's desk sits Bogle, cold, sordid, slow, smoldering, and takes your money. Behind a mountain of toothpicks, he makes you change, files your check, and ejects at you like a thought, a word about the weather. Beyond a corroboration of his metro meteorological statement, you would better know not venture. You are not Bogle's friend. You are a fat, transient customer, and you and he may not meet again until the blowing on of Gabriel's dinner horn. So take your change and go to the devil if you like. There you have Bogle's sentiments. The needs of Bogle Bogle's customers were supplied by two waitresses and a voice. One of the waitresses was named Aileen. Aileen. She was tall, beautiful, lively, gracious, and learned in persiflage. Persiflage. Her her other name? There was no more necessity for another name at Bogle's than there was for finger bowls. The name of the other waitress was Tildy. Why don't you suggest why do you suggest Matilda? Please listen this name, Tildy. Tildy. Tildy was dumpy, plain-faced, and too anxious to please. Repeat the last clause to yourself once or twice and make the acquaintance of the duplicate infinitive. The voice at Boggles was invisible. It came from the kitchen. It did not shine in the way of originality. It was a hidden, hidden. It was a hid, hidden voice, and contented itself with vain repetitions of exclamations emitted by the concerning food. Waitresses concerning food. Will it tire you to be told again? Then Eileen was beautiful. Had she donned a few $100s worth of clothes and joined the Easter parade? And had you seen her, would you have hastened to say so yourself? The customers at Bogle's were her slaves. 6 tables full she could wait upon at once. They who were in a hurry restrained their impatience for the joy of merrily gazing upon her swiftly moving, graceful figure. They who had finished eating ate more than they might continue in the light of her smiles. Every man there, and they were mostly men, tried to make his impression upon her. Eileen could successfully exchange repartee against a dozen at once. Repartee. And every smile that she sent forth lodged like pellets from a scatter gun in as many hearts. And all this while she would be, and all this while she would be performing astounding feats with orders of pork and beans, pot roasts, ham and ham and sausage and the weights, and any quantity of things on the iron and in the pan and straight up and on the side. With all this feasting, feast, feasting and flirting, and merry exchange of wit bogles came mighty near being a salon, saloon, with Eileen for its Madame Recamier. Recamier. If the trances entrance were entranced by the fascinating Eileen, the regulars were her adorers. There was much rivalry among many of the steady customers. Eileen could have had an engagement every evening. At least twice a week, someone took her to a theater or to a dance. One stout gentleman whom she and Tildy had privately christened the Hog presented her with a triscuous ring. Another one known as Freshy, who rode on the traction company's repair wagon, was going to give her a poodle as soon as his brother got the hauling contract in the ninth. And the man who always ate spare ribs and spinach, and she and said he was a stockbroker, asked her to go to Parsifal with him. I don't know where the place is, said Eileen, while talking it over with Tildy. But the wedding rings got to be on before I put a stitch into a traveling dress. Ain't right, ain't that right? Well, I guess. But Tildy, and streaming, chattering, cabbage-scented bogles, there was almost a heart tragedy. Tildy, with the blunt nose, the hay colored hair, the freckled skin, the bag of meal figure, had never had an admirer. Not a man followed her with his eyes when she went and fro in the restaurant, save now and then when they when they glares glared with the beast hunger for food. None of them bantered her gaily to coquettish interchanges of wheat. None of them loudly julied her of mornings as they did Eileen, accusing her, when the eggs were slow in coming, of late hours in the company of envied swains. No one had ever given her a trickios ring or invited her upon a voyage to mysterious distant Parsifal. Tildy was a good waitress, and the men tolerated her. They who sat at her table spoke to her briefly with quotations from the bill of fare, and then raised their voices in honeyed and other flavored accents eloquently addressed to that fair Eileen. They read it, read it in their chairs to gaze around and over the impending form of Tildy. That's Eileen's pla- pulch, pulch, pulchritude might season and make ambrosia of their bacon and eggs. And Tildy was content to be the unwooed, woo, unwooed drudge of if Eileen could receive the flattery and the homage. The blunt nose was loyal to the short Grecian. She was Eileen's friend, and she was glad to see her rule hurts and win of attention of men from smoking pot pie and lemon mm, meringue, meringue. But deep below our freckles and hay-colored hair and unhandsomer, unhandsomest of us dream of a prince or princess, not vicarious, but coming to us alone. There was a morning when Eileen tripped into work with a slightly bruised eye, and until this solicitude was almost enough to heal any optic. Fresh guy, explained Eileen. Last night I was going home at 23rd and 6th. Sashayed, sashi upped, so he did, and made a break. I turned him down cold, and he made a sneak, but followed me down to 18th and tried his hot air again. Gee! But I slapped him a good one, slide off the face. Then he gave me that eye. Does it look really awful, Till? I should hate that Mr. Nicholson should see it when he comes in for his tea and toast at 10. Tilly listened to the adventure with breathless admiration. No man had ever tried to follow her. She was safe abroad at any hour of the 24. What bliss, what bliss it must have been to have had a man follow one and black her once eye for love. Uh, Among the customers of Bogle's was a young man named Cedars, who worked in a laundry office. Mr. Cedars was thin and had light hair and appeared to have been recently rough dried, and starched. He was too different to aspire to Eileen's notice, so he usually sat at one of Tildy's tables, where he devoted himself to silence and boiled weakfish. One day when Mr. Siders came i- into dinner, he had been drinking beer. There were only two or three customers in the restaurant. When Mr. Siders had finished his weak fish, he got up, put his arm around Tildy's waist, kissed her loudly, and impudently walked out upon the street, snapped his fingers in the direction of the laundry, and hired himself to play pennies in the slot machines at the amusement arcade. For a few moments, till the store stood petrified. Then she was aware of Eileen shaking at her, an arch foreigner, and saying, "Why, Till, you naughty girl, aren't you getting to be awful, Miss Sly Boots? Third thing, I know you'll be stealing some of my fellows. I must keep an eye on you, my lady. Another thing, won't, won't, up until this recovering wits. In a moment she had advanced from hopeless, lowly admirer to be an Eve sister of the po- potent Eileen. She herself was now a man charmer, a mark for Cupid, a Sabine for who must be coy when the Romans were at their banquet boards. Men had found her waist achievable and her lips desirable. This sudden and amatory cedars had, as it were, performed her for her a miraculous piece of one day laundry work. He had taken the sackcloth of her uncomeliness, uncomel, com, um, uncomeliness, had washed, dried, starched, and ironed it, and returned it to her sheer, embroidered, embroidered, embroidered lawn, the robe of Venus herself. The freckles of Tildy's cheeks merged into a rosy flush. Now both curse and psyche, pipet, pipet from her brightened, brightened eyes. Not even Eileen herself had been publicity embraced and kissed in the restaurant. Tildy could not keep the delightful secret. When Trey was slack, she went and stood at Bogle's desk. Her eyes were shining. She tried not to let her words sound proud and boastful. A gentleman insulted me today, she said. He hugged me around the waist and kissed me. That's so, said Bogle, cracking open his business amour. After this week you get $1. a week more. At the next regular meal, when Tildy sat food before customers with whom she had acquaintance, she said to each of them modestly, as one whose merit needed no bolstering. And gentlemen insulted me today in the restaurant. He put his arm around my waist and kissed me. The dinners accepted the revelation in various ways, some incredulously, some with congratulations. Others turned upon her the stream of ba- badinage that had hit hitherto been discredited at Eileen alone, until this heart swelled in her bosom. Oh, she saw at least the towers of romance rise above the horizon of the grey plain in which she had for so long travelled. For 2 days Mr. Siders came not again. During that time Tildy established herself firmly as a woman to be wooed. She bought ribbons and arranged her hair like Eileen's, and tightened her waist 2 inches. She had a thrilling but delightful fear that Mr. Seeders would rush in suddenly and shoot her with a pistol. He must have loved her desperately, desperately. And impulsive lovers are always blindly jealous. Even Eileen had not been shot at with a pistol. Even Eileen had not been shot at with a pistol. And then, and then Tildy rather hoped that he would not shoot at her, for she was always loyal to Eileen, and she did not want to overshadow her friend. At 4 o'clock on the afternoon of the third day, Mr. Siders came in. There were no customers at the tables, and the back end of the restaurant Tildy was refilling the mustard pots, and Eileen was quartering pies, m- qua- quartering pies. Mr. Siders walked back to where they stood. Tildy looked up and saw him, gasped, and pressed the mustard spoon upon her heart. Short pause. A red hair bow was in her hair. She wore Venus's a Eighth Avenue beige and blue bead necklace with her swinging silver symbolic heart. Mr. Siders was flushed and embarrassed. He plunged one hand into his hip pocket and the other into a fresh pumpkin pie. Miss Tildy, said he, I want to apologize for what I done the other evening. Tell you the truth, I was pretty well tongued up, or I wouldn't done, or I would not have done it. I wouldn't do no lady that away when I was sober. So I hope, Miss Tildy, you'll accept my apology and believe that I wouldn't have done it if I'd known what I'm doing. And hadn't of been drunk. With this handsome plea, Mr. Siddons backed away and departed, feeling that a reputation had been made. But behind the convenience screen, Tildy had thrown herself flat upon the table among the butter chips and the coffee cups, and was sobbing her heart out. Sobbing out. Out and back again to the great plain wherein travel of day with blunt noses, no noses, nose, noses, with blunt noses and hay-colored hair. From her knot she had torn the red hair bow and cast it upon the floor. Cedar, cedars she despised utterly. She had but taken his kiss at, as that of a pioneer and prophetic prince who might have set the clocks going and the pages to running in fairyland. But the kiss had been maudlin and unmeaned. The court had not stirred at the false alarm. She must for evermore remain the sleeping beauty. She must for evermore remain the sleeping beauty. Yet not all was lost. Eileen's arm was around her, and Tildy's red hair groped groped among the butter chips till it found the warm grasp of her friends. Don't you fret, Till, said Eileen, who did not understand entirely. That turnip-faced little clo- cloth clothespin of a Cedars ain't worth it. He ain't anything of a gentleman, or he ain't anything of a gentleman, or he wouldn't ever have apologized. Okay, guys, thank you for listening to me today, and see you tomorrow. Bye.